The last part of our site that really needs some work is the shopping bag. And this is really just because a horizontal table doesn't work well as a mobile design without forcing the user to scroll sideways, which is just an awkward user experience. In order to maintain the same experience on mobile, we're going to refactor it into a grid instead of a table, but only on mobile views. To accomplish this elegantly, I'm going to break the bag table up into a number of includes which we can reuse. If we look at the layout of the page, it's broken into several core pieces: the product image, the product info, its price, the quantity selector, the subtotal, and the bag total and checkout buttons at the bottom. We can reuse all these chunks of code and just put them into a grid instead of a table, so I'm going to create a separate HTML file for each one, which we can include in each layout. I'll create a product image.html, product info.html, quantity form.html, bag total.html, and checkout buttons.html. Now I can just copy each block of code into its respective file. So here I'll copy the product image block and save that. Then copy in the product info. I'll grab the entire quantity form and save that in its own HTML file. And do the same for the bag total and checkout buttons. Now all I need to do is delete each block in bag.html and replace it with the appropriate include statement. I've left the product price and subtotal alone since they're just a single paragraph and will be laid out slightly differently on mobile. To create the mobile layout, I'll create a div here with display block and display medium none, so it will only display on mobile. And while I'm at it, I'll set the opposite on the table, so it'll be hidden on mobile, but display on medium and up. Back inside this mobile div, let's make 2 rows, each with a single full width column. The first one will include the bag total, and the next will include the checkout buttons and a small paragraph letting the user know that a summary of their bag contents is below. And I'm putting these at the top just so the user doesn't have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page to find the checkout button. Let's see how that looks so far. So that looks good. Now we need to iterate through the bag items and generate a row for each item. Each row will have 4 columns, stacked on top of each other on extra small screens, and side by side on small. In the first column, I'll place the product image, the second will have the product info, the third will contain the price and the subtotal, and the last will contain the quantity form. I'll also include another row with a horizontal divider after each product. Finally, since this mobile layout could get quite long if they have a lot of products, let's give the user a quick way to get back to the top of the page by copying the back to top link from the products page along with its JavaScript. Of course, we could extract this out into an include in the products app and then include it in the bag template from there, But that makes the bag app here dependent on something in the products app, which is not ideal since we want our Django apps to be as decoupled as possible. With both the link and the JavaScript copied, let's take a look at our new shopping bag page. With everything across the site looking quite nice on all modern screen layouts, I'm going to call this visually finished and commit my changes. In the final video, we'll take a look at the problems monitor in Gitpod and fix any bugs in our Python code to finally complete our e-commerce store.